Hello, and welcome back to the third episode of the Pick and Pop podcast. I'm your host Caleb Carroll, joined by Ryan Ehteshami and Dillon Hong, where today we'll be discussing
Yes,
the
sir.
end of the Warriors season after they fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games, and sort of the outlook for the offseason. So I guess just the first question is, where everyone to go first, just like how you maybe grade the season overall. It's like overall thoughts on this Warriors season.
Ryan, would you like to start or?
Oh, I thought Dillon was going to start. Who do you want to start, Caleb?
Uh, Ryan, you can start.
Uh, I was ashamed by this Warriors season. I think this is one of the worst seasons we've seen since, what was it, 20? What was the year they traded Poole? Was that 22? The year that Draymond and Poole got in the fight? No, that was
They
23,
that
23,
that's the
23.
2023 season.
2023 season. I think this was the worst season since 23. The team had no life. We had, other than like the first 2 weeks of the season, which we had promise because um because the bench was actually helping. We had Buddy Hield was playing phenomenal. We had Kyle Anderson, even though he didn't do much, and the team was actually decent. Other than those 2 weeks, the entire rest of the season, we were fighting to be an average team. We were nowhere near where we should have been. We didn't play well, other than when Steph Curry went off. When Jimmy Butler came here, it got better, but in my opinion, it was just a better version of mediocrity. There was no bench production at all, and the team just couldn't find their legs, and that was shown in the playoffs. Houston series should have been over in six, and this Wolf series, although you can't say it's really the Warriors' fault because Curry didn't play, it should have been over in four. I think it just shows how bad the team is that they couldn't win one game without Steph Curry. You just got to win one game. They couldn't win one game without Steph Curry. It just shows how truly mediocre this team is. Without Steph Curry, this is a 20-win team, maybe, maybe.
I don't know if I go as far as saying like this was a bad season. I feel like making second round was like I'd say it was actually pretty successful, but I do agree about the thing of this team is just so reliant on Steph that we saw the lack of depth, the lack of scoring from the team. Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler not suited really to be number one, and maybe even number two now. I think he probably finds number two. Definitely not number one. We lack great depth. Guys like
Mm-hmm.
Podziemski, Moody didn't step up. So yeah, we're way too reliant on the one 37-year old guy that can get injured pretty easily. So let me
Yep.
get
Yep.
let me get Dylan. Do you share the same sentiments, or do you have a
Um,
more positive outlook?
I'd agree with most of it. I honestly am not incredibly disappointed on how the season went. I think it could have went way worse than what it was. I think, you can see it
This
on
guy,
so.
this guy's a clown. This guy is a clown. He doesn't know.
Let me talk. Damn, I did not interrupt you. I'm just saying, like, yeah, how they say, like, we had multiple seasons within this own season. Like for that first stretch, I remember I'd never been happy to be a Warriors fan those first 15 games when we started the season off 12-3. We were playing well. Man, we were winning games. We were flowing. I feel like all the role players were stepping up. We were
Yep.
playing defense. So we played small ball. We were still. They say that we weren't playing the best competition in those first 15 games, but a win's a win. You get me?
Yeah.
And I think like just starting off, like I saw great promise in D'Anthony Mountain, and I was heartbroken when he went down because
Yes.
he meshed in perfectly. I thought
Yeah.
he was a really good piece of the puzzle that was needed. And then when he went down, I feel like our team kind of went south when he left. And then like the middle of the season, that felt like a fever dream. We were playing like pretty awful, and we brought in some new players. We brought in Dennis.
Dennis played
As
awful.
Dennis was
Dennis was
awful.
awful.
Absolutely terrible. Yeah.
Dennis,
Dennis was awful,
I
man.
thought I saw some promise with Dennis in his first couple games when he would average a nice like and just take some stress off from Curry, but as you can tell, like there's no real backup that can carry or have the same gravity as Curry. And then I thought I saw that with Butler again, but then
Well,
as
I
the
I agree with
lights
those.
got the lights got too bright, and I think we us Warriors fans we put all of our chips in Butler, and he didn't catch us out. And again, like Kaminga, Kaminga was going through it in that last quarter of the season because Kerr was saying like he couldn't fit with Jimmy. But then, as we did see in the T Wolf series, he was stepping up. He was being
When
productive.
Yeah.
he stepped up because they didn't have they there was no one else to score. He was taking every shot.
Hmm.
There's no Steph.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But
I think
one thing I do
he
want to highlight a big thing
does.
is in those first 2 weeks of the season, Curry had 17, 20, 18, 3 game. He was out for 3 games, 24, 27, 12.
Yeah.
That's not a high level production. And we were still, I think we were undefeated that first 2 weeks. I think we maybe lost 1 game. That
Yeah,
just
we're
shows
really
how
good.
good we were and how much potential we had for this season.
I
And
think
then,
sorry, like just to kind of on that point before you go to the next thing, I think a big wild card this year for the Warriors was Buddy Hield. I feel like we
yeah,
saw this first 2 weeks of the season when Buddy Hield was playing well and making shots, almost sort of like a Walmart Klay Thompson, just like the movement threat, the shooting threat, adding some more depth. He was really good, or in the playoffs in that game seven. Um, Buddy Hield was like one of the main reasons we won that game. But too often, Buddy Hield, like he did win my respect this year as a Warriors fan, but also he's too inconsistent. He's a guy like if a shot isn't falling, if he's kind of streaky as a shooter, he's not giving much value. But I do think he was pretty huge for that. So the first 15 games, and the Warriors were looking like a legit contender.
yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
also think in addition of Buddy, um, it really highlighted the importance of Curry and how Curry makes everyone better, played better with him. Like we saw this with Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson was an elite all-star level player before his injuries with Curry because Curry would take so much of the defense with him because Curry's gravitational pull on the court is just
Yeah,
in, and that would leave Klay with so many opportunities to score. And now we see Klay on the Mavs, like he's obviously not performing at the same level that he was with the Warriors. And we see Buddy when Curry's on the floor with Buddy gets a lot more open shots. He's able to create more because Curry brings so much to the defense. The defense focuses more on Curry. But then when Curry goes down, Buddy he kind of loses his opportunities. Like he can't really do much.
yeah.
You
But he
know.
was kind of a one-dimensional player. Like he
Yeah.
can't really dribble very well. He can't really pass, but like, he can shoot it, like especially when it's on fire, like in
Oh
that
yeah.
game seven.
yeah,
And sort of just like what Ryan was saying is in the T-Wolf series, we saw like this Warriors team is just so built around Steph, so sort of like a big Jenga tower where you take one piece out and everything else just collapses. It's like we're so reliant on like a contending team can't like, in order to be like true contenders, we can't rely so much on a 6'3" like high upper 30 year olds.
Agreed.
Uh,
Agreed.
and I guess the question I have is, do you think the Warriors could have won the Minnesota series if Stephen had been fully
yeah.
healthy?
Yeah.
They proved that in game one that they could.
Hmm.
I don't think the Teals had an answer for Curry. I don't think so. I think when Curry went down, they were probably in the locker room jumping for joy.
Yeah.
Like I don't think T Wolves really had an answer when Curry was on the court for Jimmy as well. Like I don't think maybe Jaden McDaniels was the only like defender that was probably an issue on the court.
Hmm.
But I think if Curry was on the floor, Jimmy would have been so much more productive.
Yeah. Because Curry being out like allowed the T-Wolves to put McDaniels on him, and McDaniels is a really good defender, and like if they don't have McDaniels on. If Curry is there, then McDaniels has to guard Curry, and then like I think Jimmy, I think Ant would have to guard Jimmy and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And I'm
so
also
it
a bit
makes it easier for
why,
Jimmy too.
and I'm also a bit confused why Kerr he didn't play postman. I think postman would have been very vital in this series when Rudy's out there because if postman would be able to spread out the floor and Rudy wouldn't be able to guard him in the paint because Rudy, I can't lie, I hate to say it, he was low key locking up Jimmy. Like Jimmy was not getting to his spots. Rudy was
Yeah.
putting him and making
I
him
I could
really.
not disagree with more with you. That's a blasphemous statement. Um, what I do have to say is no. Jimmy was playing well. The only problem is, and this is what I've seen with Jimmy every single game since he joined the
He was
Warriors.
not
He's
in
way too
spots. That's
Jimmy's way too scared to shoot.
Yeah, I
I don't know
agree.
why he's so scared to shoot, and when he's gonna take the mask off and be that shooter. Because it's not like he like doesn't have the talent or he's too old. No, he's just genuinely just turning down shots.
Yeah,
I don't
there's
like
too many
that.
times where it's like he's trying too hard to be like a team player.
Yeah.
It's like okay, when you step out when you step out there, it's like okay to
Yeah,
like
when
maybe
you
look to
just
pass. But when it's
out
like Brandon Pajemski and Moses Moody, it's like
And
we dog we're gonna need you to score a bit more.
And I don't agree with the Quentin Post thing either. This guy, I don't know who this guy you got brought on the show is. This analyst, he's just Post. Post played a good bit in game two, and he did absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
I thought one thing they should have done, and player who didn't play great game two, but he played good game one, and he did progress a little bit well, pretty well during the series. Is Pat Spencer. Pat
yeah,
Spencer has been playing very well. I think
okay.
Pat
What
Spencer
or
getting minutes, and I did think honestly, personally. I really like the call from Steve Kerr to play TJD more. I
hmm
really like that. I thought TJD did make some mistakes, but he's young, and I think that was very good progression for him. And I think he played pretty well, much better than Quentin Post, in my opinion. And I don't think Rudy Gobert was that big of a issue as your this analyst over here is saying. Rudy Gobert is is just not good. He's not a great player. He's not a good player. He's just simply bad. He can't
hmm
like he's getting Kuminga dunked all over him. He can't
yeah.
play defense. He can't guard. He could barely rebound. He's getting out rebounded by Kevon Looney. The
Uh-huh.
one thing that I think that Rudy Gobert was doing that was hurting us was especially I noticed this in game three. It was
hmm
a vital game we had, and
Yeah.
that they kind of threw away because Rudy Gobert was hitting free throws, which I don't understand. What 56, 60% free throw shooter is going 7 for 8 from the free throw line
Yeah.
in the biggest game of his career? I just don't
I
know where.
I think Gobert's defense is good. Like people overhate it probably because he's under more scrutiny, but like he can deter things well. And then obviously I think this year is like if he'd been playing Steph and stopping Steph much, but his rim protection I think does play a
Well,
factor in there.
when I was watching, I remember seeing when I saw Rudy Gobert get off the floor, I was happy.
hmm
I mean, I was mad.
hmm
When Rudy Gobert when they had sub Rudy Gobert, I'm like, that's a liability on offense and defense right
Yeah.
there. Why are they taking him out? It
hmm
was like the 4th of July. Fireworks were going off in my head when they put Rudy Gobert in the game.
I would need to analyze defense more. I don't.
He was just awful. He just is
He
awful.
didn't really stand. Honestly, he
He's
didn't
not a
really
great
stand out
basketball
to
player.
me. Like
He can't
a lot of
score.
times, I just like forgot he was out there.
Yeah. And when he was out there, I think I have to look at the plus minus. I haven't seen him, but I'd assume the plus minuses were better when he was for the Warriors or was worse for the Timberwolves when he was on the floor because
Yeah.
every time I saw him get off the floor and I'd see Naz Reid and the other guys come in, they were just dominating us. And then when Rudy Gobert was coming in, we would actually have a chance to score.
hmm
And
Yeah.
Naz Reid, now that man, that's a story. That's See, I love Naz Reid personally, but when you're rooting against him, you just can't help but hate him because he's making every shot. He was shooting 50%
Yeah.
from the 50% from the line, from the three, not from the free throw line. This guy is just hitting everything. He's so great. He can score on all three levels. He can get to the
Great.
hoop. He's spacing out the floor because he's a stretch five. He's just he's 7'1", I believe, 7 foot 7'1". He's just something else. If I said this to a friend the other day. If the Warriors had Naz Reid, we win that series in four,
Uh-huh.
even with the Curry injury.
Even with the
If
Curry
Curry
injury.
could not play at all, if we have Naz Reid, we're
Uh
winning that series in four.
I don't think we really good answer
Oh,
For Anthony
Ryan,
Edwards,
were
but he
you
would be a good
paid
target.
by
I don't know.
agent to glaze him this much? Were you paid by him? The Nas Reed Foundation pay you to glaze?
Naz Reid's just a sensational player,
Not
and you're gonna see it tonight against Oklahoma City.
without Curry. Nas Reed.
If you watch the Oklahoma City series earlier in the season against the Wolves, every single game Naz Reid's going off, and you're going to see it tonight again. Naz Reid is a sensational, once in a generation player. This guy is something special. I don't know what to say. You don't see uh 7'1" dudes built like he is, where he's not thin, but he's not that big either. He's very versatile, could run down the court, a great shot blocker, and he's just shooting 50% from the 3-point line. You don't see guys who are
So let me
shooting the lights out from the three
ask,
like that. What? I can't hear you.
We can't
bro.
hear you, John.
What do you,
Oh, am I unmuted?
yeah, you're unmuted now.
I'm saying in Nas Reed's past 3 games, he's been averaging a whopping 7 points.
Where's that stat from?
Look at the games he's played.
And not only is Naz Reid just hitting these threes, but he's hitting them in the most crucial times possible. I'm, I'm, he averaged four, he was the sixth man of the year, scored 14 last game, 14 this season, 14, 6, and 2. He's shooting 80% from the free throw line and almost 40% from three, 38%.
Last 4 games against the Warriors, he scored 8, 5, 9, and 11. Like,
You're not talking about game. What about game 1 and 2? He scored 19 and 11.
Game 2, he scored 11. He shot
Okay.
30.
Look at the Lakers series. Look at the
And he's
Lakers
also
series.
6,
Whoa,
9.
okay. Lakers series game 1, 23, game 2, 9. This guy, he's something special. You don't see this is generational talent.
Dude,
Generational might
And
be
he's not
far.
and like the minutes he's getting. Let me see the minutes he's getting. Sorry, give me a second. He's getting how many minutes? 27 and a half minutes a game?
why are you spreading Nas Reid propaganda?
It's not propaganda.
Number
It's
one,
just
he's
the,
not
it's the
7-1,
truth.
and he's incredibly inconsistent.
What inconsistent? He's shooting 38% from three, 50% during the Warriors series.
Dude, he's almost like a Chris Middleton type of player. One day he's playing like prime Kobe, another day he's
Chris
playing
Middleton type of player.
now.
And exactly, he has the shooting ability of Chris Middleton, and he's a 7-foot center. You see him
nine.
slash he slashes the hoop like he's Jaden McDaniels. He's defending the rim like he's prime Shaquille O'Neal, and he's shooting the ball like he's Steph Curry. No, not even Steph Curry, because he's not an off the ball shooter. He's a stop and pop guy. He's a set shooter, so he's more like a Kyle Korver type guy.
Watching like 2K recreations of the game, but instead not.
No, I watched the game, and every time I think it was game 5, I want to say, every time the Warriors came back, Nas Reid was hitting a three to put us back to bay. He's keeping it active. As they say in boxing.
I will agree that Nas Reid was making threes when it mattered most.
You know what they say in boxing? He's working the jab. He's keeping him at bay. He's putting him down, not letting them get in his business.
But about Nas Reid, he has a player option this offseason in front of $15 million. So like
he's gonna take that. He's gonna take that. I've seen he loves this Minnesota town.
He takes it. I bet he's not. He's saying maybe for the future. He's a guy you'd like to see in the Warriors uniform.
In my opinion, if he does not take that player option, he's the number one player. He's the perfect player for the Warriors to get. We need shooting. We had no shooting during that series. We had no shooting during the playoffs. Other than Stephen Curry, we had no shooting.
The Warriors.
Anybody healed.
We don't have a center. We need a center. That's two things there.
You know who I would really want on the Warriors? Who's kind of old. I would want Brook Lopez.
That's an awful take. Brook Lopez can't. Brook Lopez has lost his game. He's just not.
I think Brook Lopez. He's good. But he's just too slow. And
he's way too slow. You know who's not slow? Nas Reid. Nas Reid's coming running back and forth down the court like he's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Nas Reid
speedy.
5.
What?
Nas Reid not playing the 5.
No, what other position? Nas Reid plays the 4 or the 5. 4. He's giving you added. He's
how tall is Nas Reid?
7'1". He's not 6'9". Where are you getting these statistics from?
Where are you getting 7'1" from? He's 6'9".
Nah, I always thought he was more like an undersized guy.
Just like Kevin Durant is 6'9". Yeah, Jaden McDaniels is 6'9" too. So Nas Reid is not the same height as Jaden McDaniels. He's around 6'11", 7 foot. With his shoes on, he's 7 foot. That's.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit.
Dude, did you give
actually? If I'm being honest, Nas Reid kind of reminds me of Kevin Durant a little bit.
Okay,
I'm not gonna go that far.
Wow,
he's a good bench player in my opinion.
He doesn't have the mid range or the off
or the handle or the passing
or the off the dribble ability, but
or the full on defense.
He has the defense. No, he plays great perimeter defense and interior defense, and he has the 3 ball. I think KD does.
Well, let's shift gears a little bit, sort of looking to the future. I think the big topic of discussion for the Warriors this offseason will be Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, Kuminga's gone.
I'm hoping contract is up. So should the Warriors keep him or let him go? I'll let Ryan start.
I would say keep him, but I've heard from sources that he doesn't want to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So my sources are telling me he wants to leave, and I think the best. And I think I read it was. I think it was Chris Haynes the other day reported that the Warriors are looking for a sign and trade with Kuminga.
Yeah.
So, and I think it was Brian Windhorst who said Brian Windhorst yesterday who said the Warriors could send him in a package for Giannis Antetokounmpo, which would be lovely. But we don't get the shooting that we need that Naz Reid would give. but Giannis is a hell of a player. He's a hell of a player. Doesn't give you the shooting that you're gonna get, but he gives you great defense, gives you great scoring.
Uh-huh.
He,
If
he
we're bringing, well, it's like, yeah, I kind of agree that like Kuminga's relationship with Steve Kerr seems a bit too
it's
fractured.
it's not there. Yeah, you're
Yeah, like he's
correct.
kind of guy that just needs a change. I think he showed some flashes in the Warriors series. You know, he's athletic, but I think he lacks really scoring counters. His pass
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really pass very well. Like he's a
Nope.
guy that if he can get an advantage, get downhill, like get a step on you,
Yes.
he'll
Yeah, but
score.
you know what I've noticed? I noticed a couple times in Game 3 and Game 4 when he was getting downhill in the clutch scenarios, he's bobbling the ball. Looks like he has butter in his
Yeah,
hands. His hands look like they're made out of butter. He's just
yeah.
losing the ball, throwing it away. He's sloppy with the basketball, and that's been the Warriors' problem for the last 10 years
Mhm.
minimum. We
Yeah.
we just turned the ball over way too much. We did a good job in the Minnesota series. I will be honest. We didn't turn the ball over as many times as they did, but we can't have players like that who are liabilities. And just like Brandon Pajemski, he's a liability as well.
Mhm. Do you have anything to say about Kuminga, Dylan?
I don't think
I
he
fu-
does.
I
This
fully
guy doesn't have good opinions.
I, no, I fully agree about Kaminga. I mean, he has a very, very high ceiling. He does,
Yeah.
but I think he's like a puppy. Like he's very immature on the court. I think he's
Yeah.
very
Yes. Yes.
a lot of rough edges that I think if he smoothed those out, he'd be a very, very, very solid franchise player. But
Uh, I think that
the
ship has sailed.
I don't think the Warriors is the right fit for him. I think
Yeah, I think that the ship has sailed with him being a really like great player on the Warriors. I think with his relationship with Steve Kerr.
Johnny Boy, I love him, but you know who I don't want to see? I don't want to see no no Cam Johnson. I do not want to see him in the
I would
Warriors.
love to see Cam Johnson.
Hey,
He's a great
that's my
three
question.
level scorer. He can put the ball in the basket when you need it. He shoots the lights out. And that's what you need. You need a player like that who's like, when Buddy Hield isn't hot, he's hot 24/7. That guy, he's a hell of a player. He
Yeah,
rebounds
but
very well.
not,
He's 6'11".
not
You can
a
take that
player
to the bank.
take over the game like
What?
Giannis.
What?
Touch Cam
Yeah, but
Johnson.
Giannis is not a player who you're going to get for $10 million. Cam
Yeah.
Johnson, you're getting $10 million. You're getting some quality minutes out of him. He's
Are we going?
he's
Are we going for
every
court?
single minute he's juicing his minutes to squeeze every last bit out of his potential. That's a high. He's a low ceiling, high quality player.
That's another question. Like, who are some potential trade targets or even just like free
I
agent
think
signings for the
the only
Warriors?
trade target is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Other than that, there's no one else that you're
I
really. There's no one else. I don't think we have the capital to trade for.
I did hear we're looking at Derek White.
Yeah, I
I
like
would
that.
I
I'm a
would hate
big.
that. Derek
I,
White's one of my least favorite players. Derek
ah,
White does not play the game the right way.
I think it's the opposite.
He's
I
a
think
he's a
you're just
he's
rage baiting right
he's
now.
a no he's a no he's a streaky shooter.
Caleb, I erase Bader Pod. He's just saying,
Can I
bro,
finish? He's a
dude.
streaky shooter. Not only is he a streaky shooter, but the guy's 6. He brings no height. Another guard when we don't need one. And what can he do other than shoot the three ball? He could finish mediocre. He's a mediocre finisher. He's not a mid-range player. He's not a three-level scorer. And what's he going to do on the defensive side of the basketball? Defense wins championships. He's not a defensive player. And
Yes,
and, and
Is the
yes,
that's
he
Derek White?
is.
the
What?
end of the day. The Celtics are not touching Derek White. They're not touching Derek White. He's saying that he's a Celtic forever, in my opinion. I don't think. I don't think he's
Well,
going.
I think the reason they might trade him is, like their cap situation is kind of really bloated. Like there's so many, they're way over like the luxury tax stuff. Like Tatum's injury next season might sort of be a wash for them. I feel like the Celtics are gonna make a move. Like this could be the offseason to make it.
Well, with modern medicine, I think that Jason Tatum could come back before next year's playoffs.
Wow.
What is this guy saying? I think if they could sneak into the playoffs, which I think
They probably should be able
they're a
to.
very good team. We saw them. I think they beat Orlando
I mean,
without
if
Jason
like
Tatum.
Porzingis can stay healthy too.
Yep.
Like
I would love to see Tingus Pingus in a Warriors jersey.
Again with this weird lewd language. I don't enjoy this. All I'm gonna say is I would not like to see Kristaps Porzingis in a Warriors jersey. You saw how bad of a shooter he was in that Knicks series. But
Well, he was dealing with an illness.
Yeah.
oh my goodness, an illness doesn't make you shoot 0 for 10
Well,
from
it's,
three.
it's clearly a bad illness. I like Porzingis, but I think
Michael Jordan scored 69 with the illness.
I think the main issue with Porzingis is just the health. Like too, in my opinion, just too
He's too
unreliable.
soft. He's not a great physical player. Not a physical presence you want on your team.
Hey, Ryan, remember, they don't work for anything up there in Boston. They don't
They
work for
don't. They don't. In Boston, they're soft players. But other than that,
I disagree about Derek White though.
I don't disagree with that. There's a reason why Coach Missoula. I respect Coach Missoula a lot.
very
Coach Missoula said was yelling at Jason Tatum, "Get up." Coach Missoula is a hell of a coach. I'm a big fan of Coach Missoula. But again, back to my point. Game 2 in Boston. No Jason Tatum. He was dealing with a hamstring, I believe. The Celtics just destroyed.
Against Orlando, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
They destroyed the Magic and they won with no Tatum. I think they could definitely sneak in, maybe even a 5 seed
Mhm.
or a 4 seed. I think would be the top, but I think they could get to a 4 seed, sneak in, and with modern medicine, possibly Tatum could come back next year by playoff time. How long? I think it was. Do you remember how long it was for Kevin Durant? Was it?
Well, Kevin Durant was weird because there was like the pandemic and stuff, and then there's a bubble,
Yeah,
and
and
they
Kevin
didn't
Durant
make the bubble.
they took longer for his surgery. I
Yeah.
thought I think I read that Jason Tatum's surgery was like a couple days after his injury.
Yeah.
They were very snappy on that. So, and you saw what happened with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers in the NFL,
Aaron Rodgers.
he tore his
Aaron
Achilles.
Rodgers is washed now.
No, but he tore his Achilles and he came back very quickly.
Yeah.
And how did he play?
He played very good football. Let's not
Absolute garbage.
No, he didn't play garbage. No. He had no offensive line, and let's be
Caleb,
honest, he
I'm
played good
not
football.
I'm not
He
I'm
played
not a huge
statistically good football.
football
Let's not get on that
analysis,
here. Now we're getting out of
Can
topic.
we mute this dude?
What?
Can we mute this kid?
I don't know. I think you don't know your NFL football because Aaron Rodgers played great football. But that's a
Wait,
topic
sorry. I might need to interrupt you because for some reason like the Zoom I'm on is a limit. So I might say some last topics. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It says I have to upgrade it.
You don't have,
I'm gonna pay money.
you don't have Zoom business, but we can just start another Zoom meeting.
Yeah. So I guess just like another sort of future looking question. So talking about the Warriors' young core, which guard slash wing do you think is more important for the Warriors' future core? Like who would you maybe be more hesitant to trade, or just like who I guess who has more value in the long term? Is it Moses Moody, or is it
Fuck
Brandon
no.
or is it Brandon Podziemski?
No, Moody. Podziemski's no good.
Moody's a player that's just not built for the spotlight.
Moody played fantastic in game 4 and 5 with limited
Moody
minutes.
is not the player you want.
Moody single-handedly brought us back in game 5. And
yeah, with his hustle, but Moody's not the one that you want orchestrating the offense.
Moody,
I love
orchestrating the offense. Who said that? He's a solid role player. And Podziemski,
sure.
no offense.
Young
Podziemski, in my book,
I want Pods running
No.
the offense. I want Pods as my QB rather than Moses.
no.
Moses is like a
no. Podziemski,
all-pro wide
Podziemski,
receiver. Pods is a quarterback. Caleb, how do you feel about that?
Podziemski shot 2 for 30, I believe, or it might have been 2 for 20.
I mean, Moody has especially like 4 games where
in the first 4 games,
a
yes,
single
that was
point.
the worst out of any player in the whole.
It's one bad series.
Yeah.
Players can have slumps.
He didn't play that great in game 7 or game 6 or game 5 to close out the Rockets.
Playoff slump. It's a second-year slump.
Second year slump in the biggest games of your career. He's missing easy floaters. He's turning the ball over just so many. I know that the Warriors will keep him unless they trade him for Giannis.
Oh, this is like C.J. Stroud, man. He played terrible this year. It's a slump.
C.J. Stroud did not play that bad. Let's not go to football. It's
pretty trash. I had him as quarterback both years. He played terrible this year.
Let's not go to football. Let's stay on topic, Dylan. But I just don't think Podziemski's that good. You know who was that good? Who sadly got traded? Jordan Poole.
Yep.
Poole was but I think Poole is sort of similar case to Kuminga. Like the chemistry, just like
I do.
It was just too messed up for him to really succeed in the Warriors.
I think Poole was the future of the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they traded him. I thought they should have kept him, even with the issues.
Because it was either Draymond. It's either keep Draymond.
No, Draymond would have stayed. No, Draymond would have stayed. And you had a awful year out of Chris
That's
Paul.
quite literally what I heard from a Warrior insider who's
CP3
on
wasn't that bad. He
Your
was a bit
your
washed,
insider
but
sources are fake. I don't
my
listen to your
insider
insider.
source was signed to the Warriors.
I don't know who your insider sources are, or where they're from, or what their agenda is. I don't know, but all I know is I watch basketball, and what I see the product put out on the court. And
Like you watch
Jordan,
basketball with inverted drunk goggles.
huh?
You watch basketball with inverted drunk goggles, dude.
That's not appropriate. That's not appropriate. But Pods is he's just a streaky player. I hate that I have to say this about him because I love the guy. He's a great player.
Hey, Moody's
Not
a
the
great
future.
second option. I think he's the best possible future second option we have. I don't want to
Yes.
see
No, well, he's not a second
not
option.
second option. More
He's
like
a
third
great.
or fourth option.
He
Or maybe
reminds me
fourth
of.
option.
You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me a
No,
lot
I'm
of
saying
OG
for the future.
Anunoby.
OG.
OG.
I
Great
don't think
three
I
and
don't
D
think he has
player.
to get the size of OG.
Well, no, but they're both great 3 and D players.
Yeah.
And again, Ryan, I don't want OG and a newbie orchestrating the offense. I don't want him calling the plays and running the
Well,
shot.
look at the
I
Knicks
don't.
series. You see how OG game 1 put up almost 30 points.
Yeah, but he wasn't running everything. That you had
Well,
to work
well,
from it.
they're
I don't
isolation
want
offense.
Moody.
They
I don't want
primarily
Moody.
run isolation, so he was technically, but
I would much rather have B-Pods. B-Pods is more of a point
no,
guard. You see how he takes the game and makes it his pace. If you watch,
mate,
they
we're not.
play at
Well, you
B-Pods'
can't
pace.
you can't. Okay,
Wait.
when you're debating between when you're debating between a three,
No,
a one
I'm
and a
just
three, a point
bro,
guard and
young
a small
guard.
forward, we're not talking about Moody running the offense. Moody is just brings more to the Warriors.
Sorry, we had a little technical snafu right there.
Yep.
The Zoom meeting kind of ran out of time, so sorry, it's kind of that cut seems a bit abrupt, but we're back now. I think the topic we're just covering was sort of for the future. Brandon Pajemski versus Moses Moody, sort of the two young Warriors wing slash guards. We kind of touched on most of the things there, but do you guys have anything else to add?
I don't think on that point, no. I don't have anything else. I don't think Dillon does either. Yeah.
Okay.
Please don't speak for me. No, I
All
can myself.
I'll just say on that I don't know. They both I guess like I said this, but they both were disappointing in the playoffs. But I do think potentially has a bit more um like creation upside. I think a bit more passing upside. Like he's a guy that you could probably run more things through, but Moody probably more upside on defense. I think especially for second half of the year, has some really good defensive moments. Um, but yeah, not much else for me to add. I think the last thing for us to touch on really sort of as we look at one of the last things to touch on is look forward to the Warriors offseason is we mentioned Kuminga, who's a restricted free agent. We also have a few unrestricted free agents. I said I have two unrestricted free agents, and those are Gary Payton II and Kevon Looney. So how do you feel about like Stories bring these guys back? Let them go? Should they prioritize that? Just let me know your thoughts on those two, the Warriors. I guess this time we'll start with Dylan.
Hopefully.
The question was, how do I feel about Looney and
Looney and GP2, because
oh,
they're both unrestricted free agents.
I love GP2. I love the energy he brings. I love the defense he brings. I feel like he can really be a problem on defense. But again, I feel like he's a one-trick pony when it comes to basketball. I feel like
Yeah,
at times on offense, yeah, he could stripe a couple threes, maybe like 2, 3 if he's hot, like, and that's like the max. Or he's shooting maybe 1 4 from three, and like he'll maybe give us a very loud 5 points. I compare him almost to like Cohen Carr on MSU. Even though Cohen Carr will give you 7 points, it'll be the loudest, most momentum changing 7 points that he'll give you. And that's
yeah,
kind of what Gary Payton does on offense, yet he scores less. But he's the young glove. I think he lives up to the hype of his last name and
Mhm.
his name in general. I think he can really clamp up on defense, but then back on offense, it's like the Warriors almost have to run a 4v5 because why the hell do we have a 6'2", 6'4" guard setting screens? You feel me?
Yeah.
Like,
Having a guy that short that can't shoot at
exactly.
all is just
And then Looney, on the other hand, that's the diesel right there. Like it's kind of crazy that he's still in his 20s, which I just realized. Like he's like 28 or something. He's
yeah.
still relatively young, got about 10 more years in him. He's the workhorse. He'll go in there, he'll dive on the floor, he'll fight. Like, he is undersized. And I always remember back to the series in the finals against the Celtics when he was just bodying Robert Williams third and just getting 20 boards a game. And I kind of miss seeing prime Looney, but at the end of the day, Looney has almost taken a veteran role, which I think is very important for helping shaping up our players like TJD and other bigs. Like, I think he's a good veteran figure for them to have, but also he doesn't have as many opportunities these days because it's like the Warriors are very big heavy, but the bigs aren't that big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot of big, strong 6'9" dudes and 1 7-footer who's really soft. But I like Looney. I mean, we're not paying him a lot either, which is fine. We're not paying Gary that much either, so it shouldn't be that much of a financial burden. But I'd say we hold on to them. I think they're pretty key cornerstones. I feel like I just wish Gary Payne would develop his offensive bag a little more.
Yeah. Ryan, do you have anything to add?
I don't know why Ryan keeps on turning his camera off and
Oh
my
my camera's off. That was a mistake. Sorry. I thought it
You
was
yeah.
on.
good?
What was that?
And
Just anything to add on bringing back
Yeah.
GP2 or Looney?
On GP2, I agree with Dillon. I don't think you compare to Colin Carr. Colin Carr can shoot the lights out of the ball and plays. Colin Carr is amazing. But I think,
crap.
yeah, you don't like you can't evaluate good college talent because you can't see you don't know.
I'm not a big enough college guy to really
Yeah, Colin
Colin
Carr's a
Carr's
hell of a
not
player. Tom Izzo's did a great job, and Tom Izzo's just phenomenal coach. I want to reiterate that. But
reiterate that as your first time.
I just want that to be known on the record that Tom Izzo's a premier coach in college basketball and is one of the greatest coaches of all time. But now back to my point. GP2, I primarily agree with Dillon. I think Dillon did discredit his defensive ability a little
This
bit.
is what?
You said he shuts him down. No, he is a lights out defender. He's probably one of the best defenders in the league.
Yeah, I said he'll scrap.
Especially for the guard position, he's the best defender in the league. But I do believe we should keep him. He is a locker room guy, a glue guy.
He's a vibe.
He's a vibes guy, yes.
Yeah.
Now, Looney. Looney, I agree. He's kind of a vibes guy. Huge, big diesel, big center. Has helped a lot. But once he starts to get pricey, if he could take a cheaper contract, I'd be more than happy for him to stay. I think he's a vital piece. But I don't think he's that big of a deal that we need to be getting rid of role players who can actually score the ball
Yeah.
over him. Because Looney's great and all, but Looney's not what we need. Looney's not tall enough, and he can't score well enough. But if he is able to take and sign for the proper price, and I want to say that again, proper price, that's the most important. If Steve Kerr, Mike Dunleavy, you're listening, the proper price, don't overpay someone who just for loyalty, even though he's decent. There's much better fish out there, much better players. I think he takes the right price. He should come back. If not, I think he should be gone. He's getting a little too pricey. I think he should leave.
He's the only
Yeah.
contract out right now. I say he's like a
I
2.
I say it's around 5 mil. I think it's around 5 mil per year.
I think he's a 2.5, $3 million player.
He's a 1
Yeah.
million, maybe even league minimum type guy.
Yeah,
No,
I agree with that.
League
I think Looney's just kind of slipped in my opinion. Like he's good, he'll set screens, but he lacks the athleticism as a rim protector. He's not really scoring for you. He's not really he can pass decently, but he's not spacing the floor. Like he's got
Yeah.
it that brings good hustle. He brings a good sort of intangibles, good
And,
fundamentals, good locker room guy. But
yeah,
like if you lose Looney
you're
on the
not
court, you're
trying.
not losing much.
Yeah, and look at the rotation. He's not being used as much in the rotation, so he's literally just taking money. He's taking his paycheck and leaving.
Yeah. Um.
Again, I'm sorry, Caleb, but Dillon with another disastrous take. It's hilarious.
I didn't understand any disaster. What was his disastrous take?
I feel like Brian just has a personal vendetta against me.
He's trying to stop you. He's trying to stop you from getting to the top. He's hitting
Yeah.
on you.
Any other questions too, Caleb? I think
Any other questions? I guess basically sort of touched on, but like again, looking forward, what would you say are the Warriors if the Warriors like really want to capitalize on this Steph on the sort of these last few years of this sort of the window of the Steph Curry era? what would you say are like not in terms of players, but just overall in terms of like style and stuff? What are our biggest needs?
Who do you want to go first?
Right.
Ryan, you can go first this time.
Um, it depends which route they want to take. If you want to send the future away and just stack for the next 2 years, you got to get Giannis. He's the
Mhm.
only elite player who's really up for sale right now, other than Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant does not want to come back. Um, so if you want someone you're gonna win immediately, and you need Giannis. You have to get Giannis. If not, which I don't
Mhm.
believe they're gonna. I don't think they're. I'm not very sold on that. Mike Dunleavy's gonna make the move for Giannis, looking at his track record and just the Warriors as a franchise. They're not really adapt. Not they're not gonna make a move like that. But I think you need to stack solid role players. And when I say role players, I mean shooters. Players like Nas Reed, who is gonna shoot the lights at the ball. Not even just Nas Reed. Another solid pickup would be Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson's a phenomenal player. Look what the Knicks have done with Mikal Bridges. Another phenomenal shooter and scorer they got for their team. He completes their team. Cam Johnson's cheaper than Mikal Bridges, taller than Mikal Bridges, not as good, cheaper than Mikal Bridges, and in my opinion, just a more necessary player for the Warriors team. He's on the taller side, can shoot the lights at the ball, and just hustles on both ends of the floor. He's a great 3-and-D player. Now, again, a couple years ago, we had the chance. We could have gotten him. I'm not holding it against the Warriors for not getting him. A player like OG Anunoby, another 3-and-D great player but we don't just need 3-and-D players. We need consistent players, not like a projection.
I don't think OG is gonna be available though.
Well, no. OG's not going to be available. Definitely not. But I'm just saying, like, that's a player in the past who we've
Mhm.
looked at who would be a great fit. But somebody who is a veteran, not too old. You don't want like Jeff Green. You don't want someone who's as old as Curry. You want someone like a 30-year-old around there who's a consistent scorer, players that could put the basket in the hoop.
Hey,
What?
we thought that was Jimmy.
And no, but Jimmy can. Jimmy can, but you need solid role players.
I think we need like
You can't just have Jimmy
one
and
more like
Steph.
third
Jimmy and Steph
scorer.
are not going to score 100, 200 points for you. But and then the last need, which is a vital need, we've needed it for a time. Steve Kerr's done a good job coaching around it so far. I think the easiest thing would just be to fill the need instead of trying to coach around it. You need a 7-footer. That's why you
Yeah.
get a guy like Naz Reid, who's 7 foot. I don't know what you're on about 6'9". Put the shoes on. He's at least 6'11", and there's no way he's the same height as Jaden McDaniels. He's 7 foot, but you get a 7-footer, a tree. Steven Adams is a good option, even though he's not going to space the floor out. So
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Steven Adams, but he would be. I would not hate that move. But you need a tall player, a rim protector, and a solid rebounder. You saw it in the Houston series.
Hey, I would send the house for Miles Turner.
Yeah, Miles Turner.
He's a free
Miles,
agent.
just like Naz Reid, Miles Turner would be the perfect
Yeah.
fit for the Warriors.
Oh,
Perfect.
I love Miles Turner. I mean,
Now, I don't
I
agree with
don't know what
Dillon.
his market is because
Yeah,
oh wait,
there is no
my
market. There is no market. I don't think that he's going to be. There's no way the Pacers don't. There's no way the Pacers trade him. He's
no,
just too good.
he's a free agent.
Is he a free agent? I think he's going to resign. He likes
Yes.
Indianapolis.
And I don't know if we have
Yeah, they don't have that. I don't think the
the
Warriors have the
money
cap either.
to pay the contract because he'll demand like really a lot of money. I mean
If
like
you want,
25 mil plus. I don't know. I'm not a
yeah,
cap expert, but he'll
a-
get a bag.
any player the Warriors are going to get, they're going to either have to trade for or they're going to have to sign for almost a league minimum.
Yo, I'm
Yeah.
low-key thinking I'm not really messing with the Giannis trade as much as I was earlier because if you think about it, the reason why Giannis is so successful in Milwaukee is because the offense is him. Giannis can do whatever
Yeah.
on offense, and with Curry on the court with Giannis is going to be that second option. I'm sorry. The offense runs through Curry. Golden State is literally the Steph Curry Warriors. You,
I don't know what I don't know what you're talking about.
I
You're again just Giannis would dominate in
again.
any
No, I
offense.
don't think we're going to get a 33-point player out of Giannis with Curry on the floor. I think
I do think he sort of maximized like spaced out shooters and stuff. But with Curry, I think there might be some growing pains in terms of the fit there. But I think overall is work out. I think just having two
Yeah.
players
It'll work
that
out.
good.
Caleb, I completely agree with you.
Dude, no, I'm saying it's gonna work out, but I'm saying we're not
Uh,
getting the same Giannis that we see out in Milwaukee because
yes,
Milwaukee,
you are. No,
I don't.
he's what?
I
How
kind of
old Giannis? Giannis is 28, I want to say, and he is
I
so
think
good.
he's 30. I think he's 30 right now.
No
It doesn't
way.
matter.
That's okay, but still,
Sharing the court with Steph means that the ball doesn't go through you every single time.
that's what they said when Kevin Durant came to town. What happened? The ball went to Kevin Durant.
I say KD's a better off-ball player and a better just
Yeah, bro, Giannis.
an easier fit guy than
Yeah, but
Giannis is.
Curry's a great passer. We saw it with Kevin Durant, though.
Yeah.
I guess, but you're also acting like KD and Giannis are the same player.
Dylan, I don't know what you're saying. KD is Giannis is going to be. You're going to see the same Giannis. Giannis is a one of one generational type player.
The one thing is I still done the whole like cap mechanics of the trade. Like 'cause I know in order to fill full contracts, we probably have to sign and trade Kuminga there because like we lost most of our sort of like tradable contracts in the Jimmy trade because right now we have like Steph and Jimmy both making like 55 million plus dollars. Draymond's at like 25 or so. Then besides that, everyone else is kind of too low to really be sort of contract fillers in the Giannis trade. So like I'm not sure like we might have to trade a Draymond or like would you even trade
Well,
a Jimmy for
I think,
Giannis?
in my opinion, I think you can get rid of Pods.
Hmm.
You can get rid of Kuminga.
Yeah.
You can get, and you got to restructure a couple deals. But there's a lot of bench players that you could get rid of. I think Looney would have to go as well. That would clear up a lot of cap to get rid of.
Yeah, I'm opposed to honestly no, because it's like 5 million set like 3 million guys. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much on it, but just the mechanics of the trade might be a bit difficult for the Warriors for their current roster construction.
Yeah.
Um, did
Well,
you sorry,
I
what
think
were you gonna say?
I think yeah, the cap issue is a big deal, but I think we can easily lure this trade to happen because of the Bucks pick situation.
Yes. Thank you, Dylan. Finally, saying something good. I 100% agree with you. And I don't think the Warriors are in a position where we need picks. And as the great Stephen A. Smith said, when you're looking to compete for championships and you're a playoff contending team, picks no longer matter. You got to throw picks out the window. It's not the NFL. The NFL, it's a completely different scenario. In the NBA, when you're contending year to year for championships, when you got veterans at the end of their years and you want to go win a ring, now you got to throw those picks out the way. The picks are not going to do. A late first rounder is not changing anything. A early second rounder, late second round, they're not changing anything. Even an early first rounder is not changing anything. You need players, and the Bucks, in my opinion, they look like they're going to rebuild.
They got to
Yeah, yeah.
because they can't build around Dame. Dame. I think Dame should retire soon.
I guess another issue I have so like actually sort of roster construction wise and then compared to the trade itself with the Giannis trade is we've seen teams like the Suns or something say like screw depth. We're just going all in on sort of like a big three. And now it's like Steph sort of falls off a little bit, or if Jimmy Butler just like isn't the same level player anymore. Like even with Giannis, it's a risky move, especially if we're giving up picks. Like because we're about to give up like all of our available picks. We're about to give up picks like until like 2031 or until
But you
2032.
gotta understand that's okay because Giannis is still about 30 some years old. We
Yeah.
got good years of Giannis. That's all we need with our current young guys we have. We don't really need picks. Picks will come and go as we trade and sign for free agents and role players. But it doesn't matter because Steph's gonna retire, but we still got the Greek freak on the team, and that's why we don't need picks. Because the
But
Greek freak
we
well,
give up we probably have to give up our young players too.
Yeah, you would.
yeah, we would send
You would.
Pods, Kaminga in like 3 first round picks.
And no, you're gonna need to send
Would
a
you
couple
rather
more.
send
You're
Pot
gonna need to send more.
uh Ryan would rather keep Moody than pods, right?
Yeah, but there's no way they don't take. They're gonna have to take pods.
Yeah.
They're not taking pods.
So then what sort of like role players look like? So we'd have
I heard
Steph,
I heard GP might be in that trade.
TB2.
I
But
would
if
not
you
be
Yeah.
guys,
surprised.
the Bucks are so guard heavy right now. They have Gary Trent. They have Dame. Well, Dame's pretty injured. They have Ryan Rollins. They have AJ Green. They have a bunch of guards, so they might be a little too guard heavy. I'd be down to send Butler away.
I would not. I would hate that. I do not want to see the Warriors win a ring without Jimmy Butler.
I would
I
Yeah.
want
I wanna
no, no.
I want to see Jimmy Butler get a ring.
Yeah,
I'm a Jimmy
Butler needs a
fan.
ring. Butler's gonna get it on this team. Curry promised it to him. Kerr promised to him,
and I'm
and
a little bit like,
Draymond.
after the T-Wolf series, I was incredibly. I honestly don't. I think Butler's ran out of juice. I don't.
No,
I'm
I
not.
don't think so. No, that is
No,
awful.
out.
That's a
He was injured
blasphemous take.
too. He
Get
Hear
he
me
out
out.
of
was
here. That's awful.
Hear me out.
You're awful. No,
Elimination game in Minnesota, and you're Jimmy Butler. I'm not sure what better scenario to motivate and feed you for you to turn up. That's the team that's the
no
organization.
one was moving. There was no offense. It looked, in my opinion, it looked like a hockey game. If you know, to your audience who knows is going to know this reference, it's going to be an obscure amount. But in hockey, when the other team's on the power play, when you're shorthanded, you just go on the offensive side, you pass it around a little bit, and you give them the puck back. You guys all get back on defense.
That
That
is true.
looked like how we were playing. We were playing. We scored every 2 minutes, and we were just hoping to stop them enough.
But as you said earlier in this episode, like we saw Jimmy. I wanted to see ball hog Jimmy. Jimmy was passing up open, like he was passing up shots.
That's not because of
yeah.
age.
I
I
was
don't
not
know.
age. I'm just saying. I think Jimmy lost the fire.
That's
We
ridiculous.
we
That's
were waiting
ridiculous.
for playoff
That's
Jimmy,
you're
playoff
ridiculous. You're
everything.
ridiculous.
You're
You're ridiculous.
you're not getting like 2020 Jimmy or like 2023 Jimmy, the Jimmy that carried the Heat to the
No, no,
finals.
You
And
are though. I think you are. He's
no,
proved this
I
season.
think he's lost some bursts, and
He's proven that he's just scared. He's not lost it. He's still getting open. He's still making plays. He's just it's not it's like Bronny. You watch Bronny.
like
Bronny's not
it's
Bronny's
more
problem
than
isn't
physical. It's more than physical. Playoff Jimmy also comes with a mentality that I don't think that 2025 Jimmy had.
I do think his like tailbone injury or whatever happened when like Amen
That's
Thompson knocked into him. I think that did probably affect him a lot.
Yeah, I agree. He
Significantly.
had an illness one game as well.
Yeah.
exactly, and that even strengthens my point. I really don't think we're gonna see that caliber of a Jimmy Butler again. Like he
This
had the
kid,
best.
this guy's ridiculous. This guy is your analyst here is ridiculous. I don't know
I,
where you got him from, but
we're gonna
he
see.
just
I don't
Wait,
think we're Jimmy.
I don't know. I think honestly might be I don't know. It depends on obviously for all these trade scenarios depends on what you're giving up, but maybe better to go for a more like a worse player, like significantly worse than Giannis. Like I don't know, maybe like a Derek White or a Cam Johnson, but give it like barely anything. Like would you prefer that? That's like to get sort of like a third guy and still kind of keep some of more depth pieces. Like
a third guy is not going to be Derek White. A third guy is going to be I wouldn't really say Cam Johnson either.
yeah. I mean, if we could do like Kuminga pods much of picks, I think if that works contract wise, I'd do that. But like Giannis is sort of like a distant pipe dream. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Um
also don't really think Giannis is gonna really fit nicely with Jimmy and
You're awful. You're awful. You're just you can't you don't know how to you Giannis could fit anywhere. When
bro.
you have that much offensive power, you've seen Steph Curry work with powerful teams. This isn't Kyrie Irving or James Harden who have never worked with powerful teams. Steph Curry has. He's won 2 rings with these teams.
Jonathan Kuminga is the campaign of Giannis's.
Oh my goodness, mate. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Kuminga is like the or Giannis is like the 110th percentile outcome for Like, yeah, Kuminga's Kuminga's
I
never reached.
say in 2K terms, both Giannis and Kuminga are both slashing playmakers. I'd say
Kuminga's
they're
not a playmaker. Kuminga's not a playmaker.
playmaker as in the ball goes through him. He's
If
not
I'm
gonna.
being honest, Kuminga's just a straight pure slash,
Yeah.
pure slasher.
Also,
No,
I think the I agree that I think it'd be good. I agree the offensive fit maybe could maybe some growing pains or be called into question a little bit with Giannis sort of in the Warriors system. But
can't have
I
both
think one of the
stars
big things
first.
is something the Warriors really lack is like this lack sort of like in terms of their kind of front court rotation. They lack athleticism. Like they lack like secondary rim protection. It feels like besides Draymond. There's really no great rim protector on this
Yep,
team. It's like,
yep. That's why you need a guy like Nas Reed.
I mean, I was talking more about like Giannis in this case. I feel like
Yeah, both
he's
Giannis and Nas Reed. They both can do it.
yeah.
Except
Ryan,
Nas Reed can shoot the
Nas,
ball.
I'll put a bet that the Warriors, you will never see Nas Reed in a Warriors jersey.
But Nas Reed is the perfect player.
Um, well, I don't really have much else to add. Do you guys have anything else to add on
I think that's all.
that's
That's all I
all?
have.
All for you, Dylan?
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I got one any piece. I didn't really appreciate Ryan on this podcast. I thought he was a bit out of line at times.
Don't make
That
ridiculous. Don't make
that's
ridiculous.
fair.
If you're not gonna if you're not gonna have any basis or reason or evidence to your claims, don't make these claims.
I mean, I
Don't say
told Nas Reed
don't no don't do
probably
it. Don't do
the
it. Don't do
segment.
it. Don't say
Told
that.
Nas Reed
Don't
probably
make
that
bad
proves
takes. No,
how
you're ridiculous. You're
uneducated
blasphemous. You're
you are.
absolutely blasphemous. You just speak blasphemy. You're awful. These takes are ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
What
You're
was
inept. You're inept at making
what was the basis for the Nas Reed is 7'1" take?
Nas Reed is 7 foot. Just like Kevin Durant is 6'9". Nas
I
Reed
think
6'9".
I honestly disrespecting the podcast and saying ridiculous things for the sake of entertainment value, which I do appreciate. But
Bro,
again,
I
bro,
appreciate that.
bro. Do you think that Nas Reed and Jade McDaniels are the same height?
I don't
yes,
know. I'm just
No,
thinking
that's ridiculous. Get
Jaden's
out of
pretty tall.
here.
Pretty tall. I
Get
feel
out of
like.
here. That's awful. You're awful. You
Jaden.
are awful. You
That's
are
Jaden
ridiculous.
McDaniels is probably 6'8". Nas Reed probably 6'10".
He's 6'11". With his shoes on, he's 6 7 foot.
I've seen Nas Reed in person. He's not a 7 footer.
You've never. No, that's not true. You're. This is
I went to a game.
This is blasphemy. You're blasphemous.
I went to the Lakers game, and Nas Reed was there, and he was warming up. He was a big. That's a big human being. Let me tell you,
Big
big
human
human.
being.
That is. Yes, he is. It's a 7 foot human being. 7 foot.
No 7 footer.
That is. Oh my God. Get out of here.
That ain't no 7 footer.
What you know about 7 foot?
Well,
Are you even 6 foot?
Well, according to your height terminology and inflation, I am 6 foot, even though genetically I'm 5'9.5", just like Nas Reed 6'9.5". But like your understanding, if Nas Reed's 7 foot, I'm 6 foot.
wait. It
Nas
seems
Reed. I have a picture right here. Nas Reed's taller than Cat.
Okay, so
How tall is Cat?
7 foot.
6'11", 7 foot.
6'11".
Watch, it's gonna be the most photoshopped.
You want me to send it to you? I'll send it to you.
Sure, send it to
Wait,
the-
while you're doing that, we're kind of going off the rails a bit. So I feel like I should do a little conclusion.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you
I
guys
found another
for.
one. Just found another one. This one's even better.
I just wanted to thank you guys for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Very fun discussion. So do you guys want to, I don't know, plug anything?
No plug. I'm just here for the love of sports, the love of sports entertainment, the sports industry, the sports media industry, and sports takes. I love this. Thank you for having me. I'd love to come on anytime if you ever need.
I would love to do an in-person segment where we do like debates or something. I thoroughly enjoyed this, but I also wanted to keep it nice, clean, and concise on here because I didn't want to just rip Ryan the whole time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Huh?
Maybe next time after seeing all the ribbing Ryan did to you, you can, I don't know, go back on him. I'll try and get you guys
I
back
don't
on to do
think I got a
some
point
debates.
podcast where I said something and I was not interrupted by this gluttonous dude on the bottom
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Crazy Glaze. Oh, hi.
Caleb,
Well,
I appreciate the invite for the pod.
yes.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Caleb.
Peace. See you.
Bye-bye.